G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is a Institute Plasma Incinerator rifle. Incinerator rifle. A little bit of a typo there, we'll let that one go. What you're looking at here is basically a reskinned Cryolator, but instead of firing cold liquid nitrogen, this thing is firing hot plasma. The same projectile as you'd get out of a plasma flamer barrel on a vanilla game plasma rifle. And you can just see little bits of Institute laser gun in here. You can see the grip going onto that trigger guard there, forming onto the barrel there. Looks like they've just tucked an Institute pistol on the bottom there, and they've added a bunch of extra cool nodules. And this thing looks brilliant. It looks great. It's a big, bulky thing. You'll find this in the hands of synths, so it'll look pretty nice in the hands of those dudes as you're gunning them down. You'll find it on synths past level 30. That's how you get this thing. It's on the level list. You can't craft this on a workbench, unfortunately. But I think it looks pretty cool. Unfortunately, it does fire green plasma. It'd be nice if it fired the blue plasma to match the laser bolts that these things fire in their Institute rifle form, but that's okay. Also, we've got problems with reloading this thing. This thing requires munitions, which I'm pretty sure I've put down on the bottom of the screen already, but you'll find that I've got that installed in the munitions thing. It's not actually loaded. There's no listed ammo type for this thing. It'll fire, no pun intended, all day and all night, but you can't use this thing in VATS as a consequence, but it's only a plasma flamer, so using this thing in VATS is a little bit wasteful anyway, unless you chuck on some sort of capacitor to increase your critical damage. So be wary of that. Perhaps a further patch down the line will fix that as we go along. Let's get into the attachments. So right now, this thing's got an automatic barrel, which will turn this into basically a giant automatic shotgun, which is okay, but when you're splitting that much damage between the projectiles that are there, well, you don't get a whole lot of damage. The flamer barrel is a lot better in terms of its damage per second. Although it's only doing slightly less in terms of its damage card, you'll find that that concentrated fire, no pun intended, the concentrated flame spitting will be slightly more damaging on your enemies, especially if they've got a lot of energy resistance about them. And just like the Cryolator, you've got some sort of setup here with a marksman stock, which is for steadying scopes. Probably not the most prudent choice for this, but a recoil compensating will help you control the recoil, so that'll be nice. Got a standard sight, a short scope, interestingly enough. Reflex sight is going to be nice, and it's one of those holographic reflex sights where it doesn't have the housing, but it'll cast a little bit of a dot when you aim down sights, which I think is pretty awesome. There's also night vision and recon variants of these scopes, but honestly, this weapon doesn't have the range and power to utilize any of these scopes, so I wouldn't recommend it, but if you want, you can. Legendary effect slot is there if you need it. We'll leave that for now. And you can get into basically the standard capacitors that you'd find out of your Institute plasma gun. They don't actually change anything on the weapon at all, except for its stats. So that'll give us 130 and 81 ballistic and energy damage respectively, which seems like quite a lot for a Incinerator rifle or a basic plasma flamer, so that's pretty good. Also, fun fact, these are compatible with all of the cool paints that you'd find for the Creation Club, because obviously they're using vanilla textures and it'll swap right over. Obviously the models have been altered a little bit, and as a result some of the textures do get a little bit stretched, but I think it looks really cool. The Gunner's paint is funny because you've got Gunner's rule on this side, but it's reversed and flipped on this side, so it's sort of compatible, but you can change it from an Institute paint from other factions if you want. Although the Institute paint equipped on this is basically the same as it would be on the Creation Club thing. So it's like a free Creation Club skin if you look at it that way. Cha-ching, nice. A little bit of a quick comparison. So this is the Plasma Incinerator rifle versus the standard vanilla flaming barrel plasma thrower. So yeah, there's actually quite a bit of damage difference here. Very nice. Righto, so here we are outside of the Immersive Gunners Plaza again, and this is what the Incinerator rifle looks like in first person. It's got that sort of projected holographic reflex sight thing here. You get a lot of zoom in for a flamethrower. I don't think I picked the right actual attachment for this. As you can tell, it's also got glow maps on the side as well, and like the Cryolator, there's a little bit of animation when it comes to firing this thing, which is awesome. Another thing that I'd like to note, which I didn't mention earlier, you'll see that this thing on its barrel where it's actually firing the flames from, there is a sort of plasma or sort of laser rifle sort of compensator on that, just retextured of course. But if you switch over to the automatic one, it actually caps that and releases the 3 barrels that are on the top, which will be your automatic shotgun type weapon, which has a lot of spread normally, but if you aim down sights, that spread is fairly well minimized, which means you can sort of use this thing at sort of even a medium range, although you will have to still lead your targets quite a lot, and having that damage split up is going to mean you have to do a lot of shooting and to get that actual kill. But regardless, let's get started here, and just to get myself better protected, replace our armor plate with a Juggernaut plate. Where'd that go? Who knows, but it's time to begin with our reskinned Cryolator. I'm actually quite excited to see how this thing's gonna go. So we'll close the gap on this guy, and we'll ignore that one, and we'll start flaming his face. And the time to kill there was pretty nice. Let's just go ahead and pick our battles more wisely than charging at 20 gunners with this thing. Mr. Gunner with the Gustav goes down. Didn't want to fire at close range, did you, buddy? So things are going pretty well so far. The time to kill on this thing seems to be fairly minimal, which is great, but you'll notice when I fire and hit something with this thing, the impact it's the same as a bash animation. So it's like we're hitting them with a wall of flames, I suppose, but we are taking a lot of damage running up to our enemies, sort of melee style, and it's a shame that we can't utilize a little bit of VATS protection to get ourselves a little bit more helpful, but we'll throw a new plate in just to increase our armor stats for the moment. There's a flaming guy there. Well, flaming now that I'm hitting him with a flamer. We'll move over to our automatic one just to get a little bit of extra range, and it sucks that I can't use VATS because I'm missing the required ammo, yet you can fire this thing as normal anyway, so yeah, it's interesting. So if you were to come across a wounding version of these, you'll find that this would be a very potent weapon, even if you aren't getting those guaranteed hits and VATS with an accurate character build. And let's switch back over to the Flamer one now before I get chopped up by these guys. We might be ready for a Nerd Rage bout here. Let's go. Good thing about Nerd Rage increasing all this damage and slowing the motion down is I can basically hit all headshots, which means the damage will be off the charts. And hopefully with all of that kill, that'll get me a decent amount of health back. It's something. It's better than nothing, as I'd fall right down the fire escape somehow. A little bit clumsy. Must be the adrenaline running through the body. Running off the side of buildings and stuff. Right, so we're bound to come across someone here with a powerful weapon. In a little bit of strife right now. If we get an Idiot Savant proc, that'll be pretty helpful to get the XP across the line. Never mind, we just got Gustav. And that's it. Okay, let's try this again, but a little bit more aggressive this time. When in doubt, do all the drugs. That's better. We're going to try to take on all of these guys whilst we're in slow motion. We've got another 3 doses of jet to utilize. Wait till we get on the ground, and then we'll go again. As soon as this jet wears off, we'll pop another one, and we should be right to basically kill everything. Lovely. There's a lot of gunners over here. Please don't wear off now. This would be very unfortunate. I might just retreat, and might be timing off now. Yep. There we go. This is just standard Jet 2 backed up with Chemist rank 4, but if we were to do Ultra Jet, we'd probably still be on our first dose, but yeah. I don't usually do this, but I think this is the perfect time to do it right now, because stealth is not really an option with this thing. So what do we do instead? We just get absolutely shit-faced, and we'll be able to kill everything easier then. Lovely. Alright. Let's switch back over to our automatic one now. Oh boy. That sound of the bashing hit with the close range power of the multiple shotgun rounds, it's a little bit overwhelming, I think. Let's continue though. We'll try to get some cheap little headshots. We get staggers fairly often, which is nice. Must be a heavy weapon class type thing, but being able to stun lock them means a one-on-one battle is fairly simple if we can just get that first shot on, and hopefully they don't shoot us too much back. And perhaps we can use that to juggle our enemies whilst they're shuffling to get themselves into cover. A quick little stagger would be pretty helpful. Plus we get to hear the sound of a Fallout 3 and New Vegas plasma gun in slow motion, which most of my projectiles right now are being blocked. Yeah, we're not getting through there. Giant basketball projectiles can't get through much in this game. But we'll give it a crack. There we go. Fill that guy's face full of things. There. And there's a cheap little level up there just to keep me going. And before that gunner runs away, she had a baton. She was woefully under-equipped for that occasion. Alright, a little bit of Psycho and lots of Jet sort of helped us there. And I've got no idea where that guy is. We'll just keep probing until we get hit markers, I suppose. Wait, there he is. Perfect. Alright. No time to reload because we just simply don't have to. I gotta wonder if I keep firing this thing, will I ever run the thing dry? And that's a good stab. That's he's gone the close range blast there. It's worked okay, I suppose, but the backup plan was to stand there menacingly with their fists out, and nah, that wasn't gonna work, was it? So now I think we're on to the last batch up here, which appeared to be sort of still up on the roof section. Excuse me, just gonna put some armor plating on, which successfully blocked a bullet before I even installed it, which that's service you can trust right there. I will say that I will prefer the flaming barrel over this. I'd rather just close the distance and toast them with the flamer barrel rather than use the automatic barrel at a range, but there we go, we did it. It cost me a few hits of Jet and a hit of Psycho, but honestly, those things grow on trees anyway. And we got our sweet revenge for them not killing me, but severely injuring me later, only to be revived by, I don't know, I'm a Time Lord. We'll figure something out. We'll ride around that. Alright, we'll run the gauntlet again, swing around, kill mutants, kill raiders, and then finish off with a behemoth. We are still under the influence of Psycho for the moment, so we'll keep that going, I suppose. But we've already killed a bunch of gunners, so yeah, whatever. This one has been upgraded with a legendary effect, but these are all little babby gunners, so we don't have to worry about them that much. That's them cleared out. Do the super mutants notice? No, not yet. We'll come back to these guys later, but I've chucked on a legendary effect on my flamer called the Deadeye legendary effect, so I'll be able to get a little bit of a zoom in without having to hit that jet, which will allow me to do a ton of damage in a very short amount of time. So yeah, this is a pretty cool pick. And I'm just thinking to myself whilst in a loading screen getting to this place, I feel like this is a particularly well-balanced weapon. And look at that earthquake of the Yaoguai being staggered there. That happens quite a lot, but they've increased the damage just a little bit, not too much, of the vanilla plasma flamer, but they've done it so it's not completely overpowered. It'll just crush every single thing that you see. But it's not terribly weak where you're just groaning whilst you're using it there. So I think they've done a really good job at balancing. And most of these sort of Institute made up mock weapons just to expand the Institute's arsenal, they've all been done very well. So yeah, they know what they're doing when they're making these things. It's a nice bonus that they are compatible with the Creation Club paint. And if I end up selling any paints to go with this mod, I expect some sort of compensation for that one, Bethesda. Yes. Creation Club, that's the thing you say that just gets people angry. There we go. Just a mini shot of Jet there. I was able to get a little bit of work done to those super mutants. These guys are a little bit more tanky than your standard gunners, so they'll tend to stand up to a little bit more punishment, but that's fine. The Nightkin there. The wounding legendary effect putting in work there. Every single projectile that I get on the target will increase the amount of wounding damage, so much that I can just watch them die in the end. And there's a Nightkin there. He'll go down in spectacular fashion, gets knocked out of the whole thing. And Forcer, that might be enough for him. There we go. I've got a couple more. I think they're on the outside. This is a gate, by the way. You can activate that gate somehow. There's a button somewhere. There's a pressure lock to get one of the unique railway rifle drops in the game. If you hit that and go and you follow the cables to find that little room in the carriage there. There's a bunch of skeletons in it, so fair warning, it's pretty spooky, but it's pretty nice. The good thing about shooting the super mutants is not a lot of your bullets will miss because they're such gigantic targets, so you've got that going for you, I suppose. And what is this? Some sort of mutant hound that's running away? Come here, mate. I want to be chasing you around all day. No, it's a centaur. Ew, he just slapped with his tongues. No, that's weird. Anyways, let's begin. There's a super mutant behemoth. We'll try to get as much wounding damage on him as possible. And maybe what we'll do is get a little bit of Deadeye legendary effect, switch over, and then quickly zero into the head and get him nice and stuck. I think we managed to dodge that somehow. That's great. We've got a bunch of these minions to take out, so we may as well work on those guys. 33 damage against these guys per projectile. That's pretty nice. I don't mind that. And let me just replace this piece of armor, which will probably go very quickly. It only lasts about 12 hits until it breaks or something, so a minigun will just shred the thing in like 2 seconds. Probably less than that. Alright, that should be it for him. Now we can fire at sort of longer ranges to try to take down this behemoth. It would be nice to utilize some VATS time here, but that's not an option. So we'll just keep hitting him and see if we can bleed him to death with all of this extra damage. He seems to have a little bit of trouble scaling these rocks. And by the way, I can just keep firing this thing for bloody ever, so I guess I'm going to do that. This might be the single longest burst of firing that I've had in all of my Fallout 4 history, at least at an intended target, of course. He just felt like acting like a Skyrim mammoth and sitting there and taking it. That's the power of pathing exploitation, friends, and I think you get the idea. So that there was the mighty Institute Plasma Incinerator Rifle. It's a great weapon, a great reuse and remake of a Cryolator asset, so I do implore you to download this. By the way, it's less than a megabyte in size, so that's massive. Also, Ayla's got a new look. I changed her hair. Her old hair was shaped like a mini nuke, and I thought that was cool, but this suits her style a lot better. She looks more raidery with a less kempt haircut, with a more unkempt haircut. I think that works out pretty well for her. So, yeah. Anyways, if you'd like to see this weapon in your game, check out link in the description, and she'll be down there. Highly recommend it. It's great. And we just did a shot of jet for no reason. Why not? Really adding to that raider reputation. Anyways, that's about it for me. Thank you very much for watching, guys.